Hey, thanks for checking out my channel. I'm Tom Neiman, and this is Paint and Draw with Tom. Lately we've been spending a lot of time on Old Mine Road, which starts out near Columbia, New Jersey, in the Worthington State Park area of the Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area. And this road allows us to drive alongside the Delaware River on the New Jersey side, all the way up into Sussex County, New Jersey, if you wish to, into the Walpack area. I don't have that much time today, and during my travels within this area, I noticed this view, and I've been inspired to take a crack at trying to create a nice painting from it. I think these bands of gold and orange and yellow will lend themselves to a really interesting painting. So we're going to continue to climb down from the side of the road to the riverbank, set ourselves up, and today we'll be painting in soft pastel. Soft pastel is one of my favorite mediums, arguably tied for first, mainly because those pastels have allowed me to stay in touch with my creative drive over my nearly 30-year career in financial services. The convenience of pastel with very little cleanup if you set up your system correctly, and also without having to spend a lot of time setting up like you do with oil paints, for example. They make it very convenient for you to start and stop a project, a painting, and incorporate it into a busy schedule. And that's what soft pastels have allowed me to do for quite a long time. So when I go back to them, I always feel very grateful that I was introduced to them. Now, this scene in particular will lend itself really well to soft pastel. One of the lovely things about pastel is that they are a pure pigment with very little binder. So when you lay the pastel on the paper, you're getting almost pure color, and the intensity and the saturation is going to match the mood of this scene very nicely. Even more so as the sun continues to rise and illuminates more and more of the hills in the background. So we're going to get set up here and get started, and some of the video will be sped up just to keep this within 25 minutes for your convenience. If the lighting was a little bit better on this side of the river and you're able to see my paper, I'm actually going to be painting in pastel on sanded paper. If the quality of the footage on the actual painting itself was a little bit better, I would keep this at full speed, full length. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in and back away, zoom out from the paper itself, the surface I'm drawing on, from time to time. And I'll also speed up the footage, once again, for your convenience. You'll still get a really good sense for how I approach capturing this scene, and I think you're going to really enjoy this. So stick around for the whole thing if you can, and I appreciate you checking out this video. If you find these videos helpful or enjoyable in any way, please remember to like and subscribe. And I'm going to ask you to do one more thing. Maybe share it with a friend who you think might enjoy this video too. So we're going to go ahead and get set up and get started. I'll check in from time to time and share some thoughts as we make our way throughout the remainder of our time painting here on the banks of the Delaware River, right off of Old Mine Road, underneath the Route 80 bridge, which I've traveled over thousands of times. As you can see here, I'm just getting organized. I'm putting on some gloves. These are important protection that we want to incorporate into our painting practice, whether we're using oil paints, watercolors, or pastels. In this case, with pastels, some of the pigments do include some of the harmful chemicals, for example, cadmium and so on. So we do want to protect ourselves because we can absorb some of those chemicals through our skin, and we don't want to do that. I'm going to use a very simple setup here, a homemade handheld pastel easel that is also a box that includes the storage for all of my pastels. And I am going to use UR sanded paper grit number 400. And it's just a nice textured surface to work on with pastels. It allows you to layer quite a bit. I'm going to use some really inexpensive clips that I've purchased at the hardware store to hold everything into place. And I'm going to sit down on my little three-legged stool, which I ordered on Amazon a long time ago. It's gone through quite a bit of wear and tear, and it's still holding up okay. Right now I'm just deciding what format I want to use, landscape or portrait. And I'm going to go landscape here because I want to capture some of the gradient changes along the river. And really, in my mind at this point, I'm concluding that this painting is all about the reflections onto the bridge. Another way of looking at it is the effort to capture some incredibly intense beauty within a very mundane setting. And it all boils down to these reflections on the river at this time of day and this time of year, right in the middle of autumn. And we're going to go ahead and get started. As I sort things out here before we jump in, I'm just taking note of what pigments I have and what I have in the little storage area here. And I'm going to start out just putting in some marks to help me guide my way through this painting using burnt willow vine charcoal. This charcoal provides for a very light mark making opportunity. You could easily cover over the marks made with this charcoal with the pastels. You could even lift them up and erase them if you need to. The bottom line is the reason why we use this vine charcoal is because it's a lot lighter than, let's say, compressed charcoal, and it doesn't create any sort of disturbance with the beautiful colors that you'll get with your soft pastel sticks. So go ahead, putting some of the marks in, and I'm realizing now that I started by rendering this first piling underneath the bridge a little too large. So I'm going to shrink it down, and I'm going to move the second piling a little bit closer than it is in the actual scene, just so I can have an opportunity to create what I believe will be a little bit more of a pleasant design. This design stem is going to be very similar to the steel yard, or maybe the reverse steel yard design stem that you would find in the composition of outdoor painting, which is a wonderful book that provides a whole bunch of formats to consider for outdoor painting like this. And I'm going to go ahead and start laying in some color, just using a really, really light touch. I want to make sure that I leave plenty of capacity for the paper, the sanded paper, to hold additional layers. I don't want to fill up all those crevices quite yet, so I'm using a very light touch, starting from dark to light, very similar like you would with an oil painting, starting with my dark values and then moving my way up to the lighter values. I'm going to try and honor the deep saturation, the saturated color that you actually see in the scene. So I'm not going to do a lot of blending, but I will do some as we make our way through this painting. So I'm going to pipe down here for a little bit and just let you enjoy observing the process. And I'll come back in just a little bit and share some more insights with you. If you are enjoying this video, please like and subscribe, and consider sharing with a friend who might enjoy it as well. thing I'm noticing at this point as I make progress through painting the scene is that as the sun rises, the dominant color is shifting from what earlier might have been an orange or a rust color when the sun was lower in the sky to more of a golden yellow hue. I'm trying to keep up with this changing light effect in my pastel painting here, but I also don't want to fall into the trap of chasing the light. So color matching is rarely ever going to be the main priority in plein air painting, mainly because we who are wrestling with the changing light can find ourselves falling into a trap and ultimately losing the qualities of the scene that ultimately had attracted us to paint it and motivated us initially to make the effort to paint the scene to begin with. So at some point, preferably earlier on in the painting session, you need to kind of set anchor and focus in on the shadow patterns and the color themes that originally drew us to the scene, especially in those areas of high importance. With that said, I will gradually start to incorporate more and more yellow and gold hues within the reflection and also within the landmass in the background, only because I think that'll serve the painting well. Gold and blue, the fantastic blue found in the reflections in the water near the shore and in the sky, those color combinations of gold and blue tend to read really, really well. At least for me, I really enjoy looking at paintings that provide for those color combinations. So we're going to go ahead and go with the flow when it comes to that aspect of the changing light and color play within this scene. Now, I'm just trying to create some color and value variances amongst the structural elements of the bridge. I don't want to get caught up too much in the rendering of details, just want to make suggestions. After all, that's not what this painting is about. It's not intended to be a display of the structural integrity of this bridge. It's intended to be a celebration of the wonderful fall-colored reflections within the water, complemented by the reflections of the sky in the water as well. I'm going to take a little bit of a break and step back and assess how things are progressing. Hopefully I don't spill all of my pastels in the water. There we go. And we'll do a quick assessment and we'll get right back to it. Sit ourselves back down here in a moment. go. Here you have it. This is the close to finished version. I'll touch this up in studio and frame it under glass eventually. But that's the amount of work I was able to get done here on site. Hope you enjoyed this video, maybe found it helpful or enlightening in any way. If you're interested in learning more about pastel painting on plein air or pastel painting in general, you can check out the Pastel playlist on my channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and consider sharing with a friend who might find it enjoyable as well. And also, if you enjoyed this video, you may want to consider taking a look at this video up here that is suggested by the YouTube algorithms to be one that's likely to be enjoyed by you as well. Thanks again for checking out this video. I hope you stay well and hope to see you again next time.